After selling Zip2 and becoming a multimillionaire, Elon Musk could have taken a break. But his mind was already moving on to the next big idea. During college, while he was doing an internship at a bank, he had noticed that the banking industry was very slow and old-fashioned. Everything was done with paper and in physical buildings. He thought to himself, why can't we do all of this online? His vision was to put every part of banking, payments, investments, loans, and savings all on the internet without the need for any physical bank branches. With this ambitious idea, he invested $12 million of his own money, and in 1999, he launched his new company, X.com. But this was a time when people didn't even completely trust online shopping yet. Online banking was a completely new and scary idea for many. Because of this, it was very difficult for Elon to get customers. So he came up with a brilliant and risky plan. He started offering $20 for free to every new person who signed up for X.com. This was a lot of money at the time, and customers could spend it right away. Plus, if you told a friend about the app and they signed up, you would get a $10 referral bonus. This strategy worked like magic. Within just 2 months, X.com had gained 200,000 users. However, Elon wasn't the only one with this idea. Around the same time, another young businessman named Peter Thiel had also started a digital bank called PayPal. Both companies were spending huge amounts of money on marketing, trying to beat each other. But at the beginning of the year 2000, they both realized that if they kept fighting like this, they would both fail. So, in March, the two companies made a smart move and merged together. Elon became the biggest owner and CEO of the new company. They kept the name X.com for a while, but it was clear that there were a lot of disagreements between Elon and the original founders of PayPal. While Elon wanted the company to be called X.com, the employees and customers all preferred the name PayPal. In addition to the name, Elon's leadership style was very demanding. He would check every little detail of his employees' work and openly criticize them for mistakes. Tasks that were supposed to take days or weeks, he expected to be done in just a few hours. Around this time, Elon got married to his longtime girlfriend, Justine, and they went to Australia for their honeymoon. The other senior leaders and board members saw this as the perfect chance to make a move. They used his absence to remove him from his position as CEO and made Peter Thiel the new CEO. When Elon came back, he tried very hard to get his job back, but he was not successful. Still, he remained the biggest owner of the company, which was a good thing for him. Luckily, under Peter Thiel's leadership, the company continued to grow quickly. In 2002, a giant online marketplace called eBay decided to buy PayPal for a whopping $1.5 billion. From this huge deal, Elon received a total of $180 million. He was now one of the most successful and richest entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley. But just as he was enjoying this great success, a terrible tragedy happened in his personal life. He lost his 2.5-month-old son due to an illness. This was a heartbreaking event that affected Elon very deeply. He couldn't even bring himself to go home for 3 weeks because he couldn't face seeing his son's empty cradle. Just as he had used coding and reading to escape the pain of being bullied as a child, he now threw himself into work to cope with the immense pain of his loss. He knew he needed a new challenge, a new big mission to focus on. After the heartbreaking loss of his son, Elon Musk, at the age of 30, was searching for a new project to pour his energy into. As a child, he had always loved space and even built mini rockets. So, he started looking into the space industry, and a big question popped into his head. Why haven't humans explored Mars yet? He checked NASA's website and saw they had no clear plans. In that very moment, he decided his next big mission would be to explore Mars himself. He met with top rocket scientists and read so many books on rocket science that he started to become an expert. His first idea was called the Mars Oasis Project, which aimed to send a small greenhouse to Mars to grow the first plant there. He wanted to show the world that life on Mars was possible and get people excited about space again. To do this, he planned to buy intercontinental ballistic missiles from Russia to use as rockets. He traveled to Russia to negotiate a deal, but the Russians didn't take him seriously because of his age. He offered to buy 3 rockets for $20 million, but they quoted him $21 million for just one. Elon and his team realized it was pointless to rely on Russia. On the flight back, While his team was feeling defeated, Elon was busy on his laptop. He had an idea. He realized that the raw materials needed to build a rocket only cost about 2 to 3% of the final price. The rest of the cost was from inefficient design and manufacturing. So, he looked at his team and said, "We'll build the rockets ourselves." He understood that the real problem wasn't a lack of interest in Mars, but a lack of affordable rockets. With this new vision, SpaceX was born. In June 2002, he bought a huge warehouse, hired the world's best engineers from places like Boeing and NASA, and gave them one mission: to build the cheapest and fastest rockets in the industry. He used smart new strategies like having design and building teams work together and making most of the parts in-house, instead of buying them from slow and expensive suppliers. He promised that their first rocket, the Falcon 1, would launch a payload for only $7 million, while other companies were charging around $70 million. They hoped to launch in a year, but it took 4 full years to get ready. Finally, in 2006, the first launch happened. The countdown ended, the rocket lifted off, but after just 25 seconds, there was a fire and the Falcon 1 crashed. Elon and his team were heartbroken, watching their dreams literally go up in flames. But they didn't give up. A year later, in 2007, they tried again. The second launch looked perfect at first, but then the engine shut off too early, and the rocket crashed again. Elon was devastated but knew they were getting closer. He started preparing for a third launch. In August 2008, they tried a third time, but once again the rocket exploded in midair. There was silence in the control room. With this third failure, Elon had spent over $100 million of his own money, and SpaceX had only enough money left for one more launch. If this final launch failed, the company would be gone forever. And the pressure was even greater because at the same time Elon's second company, Tesla, was also on the edge of a collapse. Elon knew that the future of cars was electric, but the electric cars of the past were slow, expensive, and didn't go very far on a single charge. He found a startup called Tesla Motors that was working on a high-performance electric sports car called the Roadster. Their idea was to make an electric car that was better than a gas car in every way, using new lithium-ion batteries. In 2004, Elon invested $6.5 million and became the main investor. But building the car was much harder than they thought. The cost of making each car ballooned to $100,000, much more than they could sell it for. Then, in 2008, the global financial crisis hit, and the car industry was in big trouble. All of Elon's money was tied up in both companies, and the other investors refused to put in more money. Tesla was about to go bankrupt. So, in 2008, Elon was in a terrible position. SpaceX was on the brink of ruin after 3 failures, and Tesla was about to run out of money. It was the darkest moment in his career. It was a truly terrifying time for Elon Musk. In 2008, he was facing the complete failure of 2 companies at the same time. On one side was SpaceX, which had run out of money after 3 rocket failures. On the other side was Tesla, which was about to go bankrupt in the middle of a global financial crisis. Any normal person would have tried to save at least one company, but Elon was different. He made a huge personal sacrifice. He sold his famous McLaren car and other personal belongings and put every last dollar he had into Tesla, just to keep it alive for a few more days. At the same time, he got personally involved with the preparations for the 4th and final launch of the Falcon 1 rocket. The future of both companies, and all of Elon's dreams, was riding on this one rocket. Finally, in December 2008, the day of the 4th launch arrived. The Falcon 1 stood on the launch pad, ready to go. The entire SpaceX team and Elon himself held their breath.